Hi all, we have a special game today to have a look at, Leela against Leela, and the stakes are high. TCEC, the top chess engine competition, is nearly there, and there's an interesting debate apparently today about either sending the main server, which they forgot about, put in a closet, and out came Harry Potter, according to someone on Discord earlier, and T161, the test server, 10161 I think is the code, but test server 161 when it's a 10 prefix, has been in theory evolving very quickly, and maybe technologically in many respects on paper is theoretically technically stronger. However, 526 has shockingly escalated recently on the graph, which is a bit of a wind-up situation, because I was hoping we'd have a clear crusher to send to this tournament, which starts, I believe, August 3rd. So, Division 4 of the TCEC, which is a highly regarded competition, more so than many other competitions, like one of the most important engine competitions in the world, basically. So let's have a look at this game. ID 526 against T161. So they're playing on a 6+2 time control on a 1070 graphics card. I think that's 6 seconds plus 2 second increments. So both on a 1070 graphics card. D4 from ID 526. The opening book given to them reflects TCEC competition standards. There's a King's Engine start position here. So we have actually knight f3, bishop e2, e5. We have bishop e3 now, which is a very popular move indeed. c6, d5, so white's got a space advantage. So 526 is my personal favorite. I'm going to say it's my personal favorite. It's the main server, which magically has been increasing recently without being given the attention basically of the test server. So knight a6, knight d2, knight e8. Now white plays castling. Now black closes the position here with c5, king h1. And now it's interesting here. King h1 is a very interesting waiting move actually, where this knight goes. It seems to me that if the knight goes to c7, it's not relevant for e5 using e5. So f4 is actually more effective here. For example, e takes, bishop takes. This is a nice position for white with a small edge. So king h1 sort of waits for that knight to commit to c7, interestingly. If we look at this position as well with f4 here and bishop h6, you might think this is a useful resource. This queen e1, it just shows that still, white's pieces are quite well targeted potentially, and the c7 knight's irrelevant. So in the game continuation, actually, after king h1, the knight went back. It might seem ridiculous, but I believe it's tied up with this f4. Because now things are very different with f4. If f4 was played now, it wasn't played, then this position, for example, black can have knight d7 to e5, I believe, or here on queen e1. Pardon me. On queen e1 here, knight d7, you can see that the e5 lock here is important. So anyway, we have this knight b8, and 526 seems to perceive quite a lot of differences there, that black's ready for f4 and plays actually rook g1, totally different plan. Entirely different plan, more independent of whatever black does. We have a6 g4. I mean, f4 has always been a little bit controversial, giving up the dark squares anyway. So this is an interesting plan, basically. Black's not ready for any b5 yet, so this is a bit of a token move at the moment. Knight d7, g5. Now, black sort of does a breakout move, f5. Okay, that's taken, actually, not en passant, because this would leave, I believe, structural damage. So we have this e takes f5, and now taking with the pawn seems important because, as every Russian schoolboy knows in the King's Engine, as they say, the e4 square, you shouldn't give the e4 square for a knight. For example, this variation shows that e4 square is strategically a very, very strong square to use with a nice bind on the position, big advantage by positionally, visually. So we have g takes f5. There is a slight downside of this as well, though. that white has a 2-to-1 pawn majority here. So think about that pawn majority, 2-to-1. That is an achievement here, which needs celebrating. We have f3, queen e7, rook g2, rook b8. As though b5 might be a realistic thing here. a4, b6, queen g1, knight c7. Now, there is more of a possibility after knight c7 than b5 anyway, to try and undermine d5 in return, even if b5 is a pawn sack. And we see that here now. White's playing for this 2-to-1 pawn majority to do something with it. And black breaks out energetically to undermine, try and destroy white's centre. So a takes, c takes, and now we have the move e4. Now, this is quite dangerous indeed for white. If taking, I think f4 and a knight e5 looks pretty strong intuitively, but it wasn't actually taken. id 526 keeps, that e5 square away from any black pieces. So this pawn sack is kind of rejected, that dynamic pawn sack. There's already been a pawn sack over here for the double pawns, and try and hit d5 now really hard, so knight b6. But this does give white a little bit of time while black's getting back the pawn now. After knight c4, the knight has got evil intention of knight a4 to c6. We have knight taking on d5, restoring the pawn's equality. Knight takes, but white has time now to try and get a knight to c6. So effectively knight c6, forking queen and rook. Bishop b7 was played here. On, say, queen c7, this move bishop c4 is looking dangerous, and white should have an edge there at least by keeping that pin on the bishop. So so bishop b7, we have here knight takes, queen takes, and now h5. So this kind of pawn, either the pawn majority is going to be really dangerous actually, or the king safety, h6 and g6 for example. So h6 taking some escape square from the king, g7, and then g6. It seems very dangerous. Black took on e3 here. On c4, that opens up a weakness of the last move. a7 is a killer here, rook a7. And then, for example, h6, and then g6. It's all crashing through and coordinating against black's king here quite vividly. This position, there's the crushing bishop takes c4. Just trying to distract the queen from the rook. So here, just take the queen. It's absolutely crushing, basically. So here, knight takes e3 was played, queen takes, bishop d4, queen g3. So there's still a lot of menacing ideas now in the position. We have d5, so closing up that diagonal could be handy, but also the pawns generally. But now there is this rook a6, so the rook's still coordinating with these guys over here. c4, g6, it's starting to look really dangerous with g6 now. h6, g7. So now it's very dangerous, this pin situation. The bishop didn't dare take, actually. This is in the game, rook f6 was played. Let's have a look at taking. We have rook takes, and then this pawn's mobile and dangerous after rook g6 threatening h6. So this is just desperate for black, this position. It's pretty desperate. Even c4 here is crushing against to introduce queen a3 check into things. For example, here h6, and then d3 to stop queen a3, because if bishop h8, then check is crushing. For example, here is checkmate. And if rook e7, then there's bishop h5 and cutting the escape square there and there. So rook g8 again, threatening checkmate. This is one of the suggested moves in this position. But if we look at king e8, queen d6 cuts d8, and then it's going to be checkmate pretty soon for the black king. So it's all pretty dangerous here. So we have rook f6. So that exposes some of the dangers of taking here basically. And even if this pawns go forward, there's always dangers with queen a3 as well, queen switching over to a3. So anyway, so rook f6, that's taken, bishop takes, and now queen g6. So here, if black, I don't believe, wants to get into this pin business, queen takes f6 is nice there. So that pawn is immune to the queen at least. we have queen e7, queen takes h6, but now bishop takes g7. Now here b6, and this is holding that pawn. Black hasn't got that many moves, can't move the d pawn because the bishop takes c4, check. So he's waiting around here. Now king g1, and it seems on my own engine analysis with Houdini 6 actually, that here is the moment where black could have maintained equality by not playing this, but by playing the check. Sorry, I got this wrong. Sorry, king g1. Sorry, let's carry this on. Was played. King g1 was played. Let's have a look at a few possibilities here. If queen g6 with the idea of h6, that seems attractive, but black, believe it or not, has king h8 here. And h6 is all of a sudden too slow. For example, check, and now check, and it's just too slow because this is really in black's favor. Black has a big advantage. So it's interesting that h6 can be proven to be too slow. So white plays this king g1. Okay, that is a clever move. And on rook g5, this position, for example, this is a variation where just to give a bit more flavor to this position. Yeah, white's just killing it here. It's a very, very dangerous situation. But so black has to be very careful. But there is rook f6 here. So this position, for example, with rook f6, rook takes. Now there's perpetual checks going on. I mean, not perpetual checks. Well, there's going to be the potential for perpetual checks. So it doesn't matter about the pawn. The pawn's on either side. It should be technically an even position. Okay, so let's go back to king g1. We have rook d8. King f1 now. Rook a8. No, I can't let this go. I can't let this go. I think there was a possibility of queen c5 check, which I had in my analysis. And now unfortunately this is an old version of my analysis, but there was queen, I believe queen d4, and this was equal. You know what, I'm going to pause the video here and get you the exact analysis, so hold on a sec. Thanks very much. Okay, I'm happier now. In this position, this is a critical position after king g1. Black played rook d8. It seems here as though queen c5 check. Let's get this right. King h2, queen e7 is like getting a repetition, yeah? So king g1, you know, so if white wants to go this way here, now there's queen d4, which holds the bishop just in time. And even though white's got a dangerous pass pawn over here, say this position, so you know that means h6 is now implied. Queen takes b2, h6, check. This is enough to secure a draw. Now black didn't play that, so black didn't play for the draw and played actually the move rook d8. And subtly this allows white to improve the position by getting the king, it seems, on light squares with king f1. This is very subtle king stuff. Because the queen's still tied down to the bishop, nothing's moving at the moment, so white's just making the position optimal. It looks as though this is dangerous, but this is addressed now just in time with rook g5, so still keeping the king on light square if the check was played. We have rook b8. If rook a1 check, the king g2, this position is in white's favour. This is just massively in white's favour. So okay, so the rook's stuck around to hold that pawn. We have king g2, and white is subtly improving the position now. Queen d7. Now this is a mistake, basically, by in engine terms. Rook f8 would have been apparently dangerous as well, though, because queen g6, and then rook takes f5. This position, is very, very nice for white anyway. So it's actually a really difficult position in any case. But Queen D7 was played, and there's a move here which confounds my local stockfish. I don't know if I've still got a null move pruning issue. So my local stockfish 9, I even tried a different version of stockfish 9 because there's like 3 different flavors of it, and they're having difficulty. But I've noticed other stockfish 9s online, they do find this eventually. My Houdini 6 commercial chess engine finds this next move. It's an incredibly amazing unblockading move. I wonder if you can guess it. White to play here. It seems to be winning in all variations. It's really showing the art and science of unblockading, the entertainment value in unblockading things. So 5 seconds to pause the video. White to play here. Okay, bishop g4. This is crazy looking. Now, if this bishop is rejected, if it's not accepted as a sack, say this position, queen g6, and there's going to be trouble, whatever black does, you know, with h6, for example. This ending is totally winning for white, because even though black's got more pawns, well, no, actually black's got the same pawns, but the b pawn is decisive, as you might expect. It gets to be decisive, absolutely decisive. This is going to be rook c8. So basically, the sacrifice is accepted with f takes g4. I mean, we could look at some other alternatives. Rook b7, queen g6, this here, h6. Again, we get a winning ending for white because of the b pawn. The b pawn's winning in a lot of these variations. Queen f7, again, this is very good for white, just winning the exchange there. E3, let's look at e3 here instead of accepting it. So e3, just taking on f5. So the bishop has to be taken. I just want to convince you the bishop should be taken. So it's taken. And we have this move f5 now. So f6 is now underway. So it's unblockaded the f pawn. And the king has never been allowed king h8. This is incredible. The king is actually trying to get out now with king f8 out of this pin, so threatening bishop takes finally. The queen g6, and there's dual threats of f6 and h6. Now queen e7 was played, trying to defend things. If bishop takes b2, as an example, check, and rook g6 is crushing here because the queen is being won. So queen e7, we have here h6. And queen e5. If the bishop moves, then it's actually queen g8 is checkmate. So queen e5, we have taking on g7. Now this position here is just totally winning after f6 because the rook can't move now because then there's f7 check and then queening the pawn. So this is just totally winning rook and pawn ending scenario. Yeah. So black plays e3, but now rook h5, threatening rook h8. So it's black's busted really. If king f7, this wasn't played, but rook h8 here, the b pawn is just winning here again. So black's pawns are not going anywhere. So e2 in the game continuation, check, and now king f2, g3 check. It's hopeless for black. It's white pawns that are triumphant here, basically. And this was the final position. So yeah, 526, ID 526. If you want to take these games as evidence that you think 526 is stronger than 161, then that's up to you. My bias is with ID 526. This is not a campaign video or anything, but yeah, it would be great if you could vote on 526 to be sent to TSEC, the competition. I think 526 is a lot better than 161 myself. From the games I've seen so far, behind the scenes preparing these videos, 526 wins my vote. If you want to say why you think 526 is stronger, there's the Discord real-time chat and there's the Leela Chess forums. We've got to decide on this. I'm doing these videos today to help you decide. They're not biased. Okay, but I reckon 526 is a lot better. Okay, comments, questions, like, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.